Hello, Maddie. Hello, Caleb. Let's take a look at a really interesting game you played last Sunday. I think it was last Sunday. Anyway, there are a whole bunch of things I'd love to talk about in this game, but I'm going to just restrict myself to talking about what I call lineups. And the first one shows up in this position right here, where black plays the move bishop to g4, pinning the knight on f3. And when you've got a pin, you've got a lineup. The black bishop would be attacking the white queen if that knight weren't in the way. And also, by the same token, if it was white's move and the knight was out of the way, then the white queen could take the black bishop. So whenever you've got this kind of situation, you want to be on the lookout for it, because tactics can so often come because just one piece is in the way, and if there's some good way it could get out of the way, then, well, you got to watch out. So let's in fact see what happens in the game. So white played h3, attacking the bishop, which retreated, keeping the pin. And here I think Maddie got a bit too excited about the possibility of attacking this pawn on f7. Now, that's a really important square, and it's good to look for ways to gang up on it and do all kinds of, rotten things to your opponent on that square, but you got to be careful. Don't forget about the pin. And indeed, black took, and now black has a big material advantage. So white recaptured, black took the knight, and now, again, let's stop and pause. Right, the queen is out in the game, and often when the queen is kind of, far advanced in the position, there might be ways of attacking it. So one such way involves another lineup. So the bishop is on the one end, the queen is on the other, and so we got to think, where can we move this pawn? Can we move this pawn where it attacks something? And of course the answer is we can. We can play d4. And so now we've got a double attack, and white gains a little ground. White gets a piece back. Now, in the game, Maddie didn't spot it here, but she did spot it on the next turn. So instead, white played rook to e1, which gave Caleb the chance to move the queen out of the way, maybe to h5, somewhere. Just get out of the way of that white bishop on c1. But instead, black played knight to e7, and now this time Maddie spotted it. Excellent. So we're attacking the bishop, we're attacking the queen, and white gets a little bit of material back. So queen to h5, takes, and now we've got some more interesting stuff going on. So first of all, there's a lineup over here with the white rook looking at the black king with just that one pawn in the way. So that's there. There's also a fork, which is really important. It's not a lineup, but still, it's something you should be paying attention to, because that fork will not only win a pawn, but it'll grab the rook in the corner. Also, though, and I think here Caleb was looking out for a lineup, the queen over here and the knight on d5 are on the same line with just that one pawn in the way. And so Caleb played e4, and in the end, excuse me, in the end, he did end up taking that knight, using that lineup. That said, white could and should have played knight takes c7 check and then grabbed the rook. But Maddie played rook takes e4, king d7, check here, and now this is a situation where you got to be careful, because the black king attacks the rook. It's defended by the knight, but the knight in turn is under attack. So it was important to just defend it with c4, and then it's just a crazy position here. So instead, white played bishop to f4, and while it's good to develop pieces and clear the way for the second rook to get into the game, the knight's hanging. So Caleb's watching out for his own lineup possibility paid off here. Okay, so bishop to d6, rook to e8, a4, queen e6, and this allowed Maddie to set up her second lineup of the game. So it's like 2-1 so far for Caleb, but now here comes white's lineup once again. So this makes a huge threat because the black king has nowhere to go. So white is threatening just to drop the bishop back somewhere, anywhere on this diagonal, and that's going to win the queen at the very least and possibly force checkmate. So black needs to do something about this. One thing you could do is maybe block the line, play queen to d7 and give the queen back. Another move that I really like is to play rook to g8, so the king has an escape square over here. And still, one other idea, maybe the best move is to play queen to e2 and bug this rook. But that gets kind of complicated. The main thing is you got to see this lineup and then ask yourself, what can I do about it? And so I think the most natural thing to do is, well, let's just give our king a square to run away to. In the game, black played b6, and after bishop to e5 check, oh no, there's nowhere for the king to go. So black played queen to d7, queen d6 was a little better but still losing, and this was checkmate. So look for lineups.